Talmor, Shishin Magachi. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Burntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I uncover the blasphemous truth of a plague-ridden world, that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The Heresies of Radolf Burntwine, coming January 2nd, wherever podcasts are available.
I remember thinking, like, okay, this is hard, but, like, I think I got this. And then at one point, someone who was there running the session with all of us is like, okay, now we're going to do it all together, and, like, everyone's going to take off their shirts. And I'm like, okay. And I, like, rip my shirt off, and nobody else does it. And they all kind of look at me, and I'm like, what? And he was like, oh, that was a joke. And I'm like, well, it's Magic Mike, not to me. I'm just going to keep it off. And I'm like, well, you might as well.
Hello, world, and welcome back to another episode of Thanks for Coming In. I'm your host, Jillian Clare. If this is your first time tuning in, this is the show where I speak to fellow actors about their journey in the industry, and I make them share some bad audition stories with me. If you're not yet subscribed to the podcast, make sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening right now, and leave us some love in the form of rates and reviews. Today on the show is Ben Palacios. You may know him from Sisters on BET. He played the actual Lyle the Crocodile in Lyle Lyle Crocodile, which is so cool, and we spent a little time talking about that. And he's in the brand new Apple TV Plus series, Palm Royale. We had a lot of fun, so here's my conversation with Ben. And welcome to the show, Ben!
Hey, how's it going, Jillian?
It's going great over here. A nice, lovely Monday morning. How's it going for you?
It's good. It's very good. I'm in my people can see me, right?
Yeah, some people will be able to see you. The
Some
people who listen, like the people who are on Patreon will be able to see you. But
well, hey Patreoners.
Some people only hear you.
Welcome to my voiceover booth. I have this weird thing where I'll like over invest in a hobby. You know what I mean? There are like people who are like, oh, I want to do pottery. So they like take a year of pottery classes. And then there are people that are like, I want to do pottery. And so they like buy a kiln and a pottery machine.
That's
and
me.
Like I'm the second type. Yeah. So I like decided I want to do voiceover, and I like bought this fucking voiceover studio. And I don't use it enough, so I'm so glad I'm here getting to use it with you. I hope the sound is amazing.
I'm so happy I have been able to provide you an outlet for this.
You are fulfilling my voiceover dreams.
I'm honored. Honestly, though, I'm the exact same way. It's like when I was like a teenager, I was like, I'm going to snowboard. It's going to be so much fun. And then I got the board. I did all the things. I'm like, yeah, I'm a snowboarder now. I went like once. But I like invested all of this money into it. And then I was like, wait a second. Maybe I don't want to do this.
Yeah. And I bet you like have the board like hung up on your wall so everyone thinks you're a snowboarder.
Yeah. It's like my guitars that are hanging there, and I haven't played those in like years. I'm like, yeah, they're still there. Great.
Yeah, guitars are for display. They're not for playing.
Correct.
Definitely.
Yeah. You're not actually supposed to pick them up and learn how to play them. Like you should not know more than two chords.
Don't touch them. They're breakable and dangerous.
Yeah, they're breakable and dangerous. Exactly. Oh man. Well, I'm very excited to have you on the show and to talk about all the things that you're up to, which seems like a lot. But before we get to all that fun stuff, I would love to ask you the question that I like to ask all my guests at the top of the show, which is, what made you want to be an actor?
I didn't. is the answer. I didn't at first. I wanted to be a visual artist when I was a kid, or like an architect. Like
Okay.
I loved pottery, interestingly. I loved like mobiles and like 3D visual art. Like Alexander Calder was like
Ooh.
my muse when I was like in early high school. And then I think it was like at the end of my first year, at the end of my freshman year of high school, my best friend, literally on the last day of school, my best friend was like, "Hey, there's auditions for this musical, this like local musical theater thing coming up. I don't want to go by myself. You have to come with me." And I was like, "Okay." So
Oh my gosh.
it was the musical Grease, and oh no, it was Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, and he played Joseph, and I played like a chorus role, and then I don't know, I just like kept doing it, and then started to love it. But at first, I was really scared.
Mm,
Yeah.
I understand that. It's a scary profession. So you discovered this at the end of your high school career. How did you translate this into life?
Yeah, well, throughout high school, I guess I learned to love it more and more, and then I ended up going to a college that had a really good theater program, and then while I was there, I guess like web series were just starting to take off. It was like 2007,
Hmm.
and everyone was like, "Whoa, web series!" Like, and this guy in the year above me saw me in a musical my freshman year of college at Vassar in New York, Vassar College, and it was like a Sondheim show. Are you a musical theater person, Jillian?
Big time. Always.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Okay,
Forever.
so I can say
Yes.
Sondheim, and you get it.
Yes.
So I did Assassins. I'm just making sure my phone is
Lovely.
silent. I did Assassins. I played Leon Cholgosh. It takes a lot of men to make a gun, and this guy Max Gold, who's like now one of my best friends, who was a sophomore at the time, saw me in it and sent me a Facebook message afterwards and was like, "I'm making this web series, and I want you to be the lead." And I was just so flattered that like like a cool older student was like, had like come to see me and like thought I was good. I was like, yes, absolutely. And I didn't even know what a web series was. And he like, we basically like would like ditch class. He would write the scripts. We'd like film all around campus. We'd like take the train into New York City. We'd shoot in New York City. We thought we were so cool. The web series was very
Hmm.
mediocre, like very, very mediocre, but we thought it was amazing. And yeah, that was, I guess, the beginning of like trying film for me.
Mm. It's yeah, I mean I was definitely in the web series scene back in those, early days as well. And it was fun time to be like a new filmmaker because it was all about like guerrilla filmmaking. Like you just
Hmm.
do it until you got kicked out and you
Yeah,
just continue doing that
yeah,
at different places with different people until they were like you need to leave.
yeah. Well, what happened for me was that we never got kicked out of actually shooting the web series, but I almost got kicked out of the theater department at Vassar because
Oh my
they
god.
just like because they were like, who is this kid who's a theater major who's like shooting a web series with that's like doing this stuff outside of the actual theater department curriculum. They just like they didn't get it. They didn't see the value. And I,
Mm.
was probably kind of like a bit of a like douchey sophomore or something. I remember I asked for permission to like leave a rehearsal from the theater department so I could go shoot a scene, and like they were just like no, you don't get to do this. And so I got blacklisted in the theater department for 2 whole semesters. I didn't
Holy
get cast in a
shit.
single thing. I know, right? Isn't that bullshit? That like I was this like
That's
teenager
bullshit.
just like trying to figure his life out and like trying to explore, and this like college theater department was just like no, you don't get to experiment and like discover.
Yeah.
And I had to
Yeah, you
as a
don't actually do
junior,
what we want you to do.
no, don't learn. Like don't make your own stuff. Like only do it if it's like in the curriculum. And
Yeah.
this as a junior, I had to basically go to the head of the theater department and like eat crow and just be like, "Hey, I had to just like take all the responsibility. I had to be like, I fucked up as a freshman doing this web series, which I didn't believe, right? I still like loved doing it, but I was like, I fucked up. I should have prioritized my theater major. Like, I'm dedicated. I want to be here. I want to be in the department shows. Like, please give me another chance. And he was like, okay. And then from then on, I got cast in department stuff.
Oh, good. Don't you
Yeah.
love it? Don't you love having to grovel for not anything, really? Like,
Yeah. Well,
grovel for what?
for what
You
you're
were just
paying for,
doing,
which is
yeah,
like my college
for what you're like
education.
paying thousands of jobs for,
I
thousands of
know.
dollars. Like, come on,
I know.
that's wild.
But like
So what?
I learned a good lesson, I guess.
The lesson was
The
to
lesson, yeah.
still do what you want and then maybe ask for forgiveness after.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think I learned two lessons. The first immediate lesson was like, don't fuck with the people who have power over your future. Or if you do, like, do it well. And then the second lesson
Hmm.
was that I learned years later was that that guy Max Gold who cast me in that thing and I are still best friends, and we've done way more projects together since graduating Vassar, and that got me into film, and that's what made me want to move out to LA. Like, everything points back to that web series. And so I guess what I learned was like the relationships I built from doing that mediocre web series were way more important to me now than whatever the theater department at Vassar was going to teach me.
I love
You know?
that. I mean, we're in an industry that is built off connections. So yeah, that's 100% true. It's like the connections that you make throughout your career are what's going to propel you forward throughout the rest of your
Yeah.
career. And that's just kind of how it
Yeah.
works here.
Yeah. All that said,
Um,
Vassar's amazing. I loved Vassar. The theater department is great. I still recommend going. I actually want to go back and like teach classes. It's just what did you study? Were you like a theater major in school? Did you do that?
No, so I grew up as a child actor, so I didn't like go to college until actually the pandemic because again I was bored. So I went back to college and got my degree in political science. So I didn't
Mm,
do like the traditional route of college when you're supposed to do college because I was already in the industry and working.
yeah. You're from my perspective, you're so lucky. When I moved out to LA at like 22 after college, seriously, I would go to auditions and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm 22, like I'm young and fresh and new and like, you know, like this will be great." And I'd go to auditions and like the people I'd be like auditioning for like Glee or whatever, and like the people that were also auditioning for the same role had been acting since they were like 12. And I'd look
Hmm.
around and be like, "Fuck, like I don't stand it. Like these people have so much experience, like the yous of the world."
The
So
use, the me's.
I was so
Yeah,
jealous of
it's an
you.
interesting experience. Oh, well, thanks.
I'm sure there's
Just means that we've
downsides as well to being a child actor.
I feel like I thankfully like skipped a lot of the downsides. Like I had a very good community around me and my parents were very grounded. So like I don't know that I really experienced the downsides that are like publicized in the media as much as other people did.
Good.
Um
Yeah.
but I learned good work ethic, I guess, from a very young age,
Hmm.
which has definitely helped me as an
Yeah.
adult. And I learned from a lot of people that, I acted with a lot of interesting actors throughout my childhood, which made me a different actor as well. Um, like who works with Gary Busey when they're 10? Me, I did. And that
Uh,
changes who you are as an actor.
yeah. That's so cool. I mean, and just to have like at like such a formative age to like have the experience on set in front of a camera and just like own yourself. Like it took me so long, and I'm still figuring
Mm.
out how to like fully own myself in front of a camera. I still have to like psych myself up and and I'm hoping, I'm assuming you can probably tell me that if you do it when you're like 10, younger or whatever as a teenager, you're like, "Okay, this is it. I'm in front of a camera and I'm just going to be me."
Yeah, I mean that pretty much is it. Like I guess you don't really think about it that much when you grow up with it because it's just there.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like I guess I never really thought about the cameras looking at me because it just was what it was. It wasn't like, oh wow, there's a camera on me and people are gonna watch me. It was just like I'm doing
Yeah.
my job and that happens to be there.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. Seriously, like coming
back
from
to
theater,
you, though.
coming from theater, it feels so different. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You're like, this isn't about me.
Well,
Stop
no,
it.
you're on so many things. You're doing so many things. I want to talk to you about all of the fun stuff that you're like working on. But
Okay.
like the first thing that I want to talk to you about is Lyle, and because you were Lyle in Lyle Lyle Crocodile, and I want to know how that experience was like being Lyle during the filming process.
Oh, I love that question. It was amazing. So Lyle Lyle Crocodile is a Sony film that's currently out on Netflix. It came out 2 years ago, I guess, a year and a half ago. It's a Pasek and Paul adorable family musical, and the lead character is a charismatic singing, dancing crocodile. And I did all the motion capture acting, all the like physical, facial body acting for Lyle. And then, and he doesn't speak, actually. So it was all just like emoting and physicality. He does sing, however, a couple songs in the movie. And the voice of Lyle in the songs is Shawn Mendes. So I get to say that I like shared a character with Shawn Mendes, even though I never actually met him. But it was amazing. I mean, it was a dream being on set for 3 months. Like I wasn't in like a blue screen or anything like that. I was like on set in a big freaking studio warehouse in Atlanta, and then like on location in New York City with Javier Bardem and Constance Wu and Winslow Fegley and Scoot McNairy and like just the rest of the cast and the director. I mean, it was a dream for someone who'd never been on a set like that, to get to just be like thrown in and be the like heart and soul of the movie basically for 3 months.
That's such an interesting and fun experience. I mean, to be able to bring a character to life that is this like animated character in a regular world, but then to have a human emotional performance underneath it, I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, it was so fun. And the movie really is about the relationship, but the main relationship in the movie is the relationship between like Lyle and the boy, played by Winslow Fegley. And then there's also secondary relationship between Lyle and Javier Bardem's character, because like Lyle used to belong to Javier Bardem, and then I don't know if you've seen the movie. Javier Bardem kind of like abandons Lyle, and Lyle's just like stuck in the attic of this brownstone in New York City, and this new family moves in, and Winslow Fegley is this like young boy in the family, and he hears noises in the spooky attic, and he goes up and he like finds this giant, scary, real crocodile, and at first he's terrified, and they become best friends. And then Javier Bardem's character comes back and he's like, I'm here to retrieve my crocodile, my singing, dancing crocodile, vaudevillian, who I trained. And then, ensues this whole like kind of farce of like who does Lyle belong to, and like who does Lyle want to be with? Does he want to be with Javier, who abandoned him and who taught him everything, or does he want to be with Winslow? I'm naming the actors' names instead of the characters' names. I hope that's okay. And
it's fine.
And it's like it's about like loyalty and abandonment and like being yourself and like friendship and trust, and it's a really beautiful story.
We're going to take a quick commercial break and then we'll be right back.
As a podcast network, our focus is bringing you shows you love to listen to. But we also sell merch related to those shows. And partnering with Shopify has made that both possible and simple for us to do. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor adventures, Shopify helps you sell everywhere because they've got you covered, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. What's so fantastic about Shopify is how, no matter how big you want to grow, they provide everything you need to get control of your business so you can take it to the next level. Businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
You can shop from anywhere doing pretty much anything. You might shop while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast. And however you shop, we all know and love the thrill of the hunt. But do you also know how to get the thrill of the best deals? Because Rakuten shoppers do. With Rakuten, they get the deals they love with the most savings and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores like Sephora, Nike, and even Expedia if you're looking to get some travel in. And getting cash back doesn't mean you have to miss out on sales because those can just be stacked right on top. It's easy to use and based on a simple idea. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back through PayPal or check. Download the free Rakuten app and never miss a deal. Or go to Rakuten.com to start getting the most bang for your buck. That's Rakuten.
And back to the show. But let's talk about your new TV series, Palm Royale, which comes out March 20th on Apple TV with Ricky Martin and Allison Janney and Laura Dern. You play a prince. Mm-hmm. Can we talk about being a prince and like what it is to be a prince?
Yeah, it's not the first time I've played a prince. Weirdly enough. It's like they always people talk about typecasting. Weirdly, I've gotten typecasted as a prince, which you wouldn't think based on this like ridiculous beard I currently have. Because princes don't have beards. But
they could never. They have to be clean shaven completely all the time.
God forbid. Yeah. The first time I played a prince was I got to play Prince Hans in the live Frozen show at Disney when they like first made it like a park musical. So that was fun. He's just like a diabolical prince, basically. And then this one in Palm Royale. What do you want to know about it?
I mean, everything. Like, what is it like working, opposite Ricky Martin? And also just tell us about the show a little bit, because I think that people really need to hear what this fun show's about.
Okay, so I'll answer the second question first. Palm Royale is, and granted, I didn't get to read the whole series. I only got to read the episodes I'm in, so I might not have the full story. But basically, Palm Royale is about this woman, Kristen Wiig, and her husband, played by Josh Lucas, who are kind of like grifters, like social climbers, and they go to they like move to Palm Beach, Florida, and they find this like beautiful, idyllic, wealthy community called Palm Royale. I'm assuming. I might be making some of this up. Don't take everything with a grain of salt. and they break in, and they basically try to like climb through the ranks of this by kind of being hustlers and like lying and there's like weird crap going on at the Palm Royale, and there's all these people, and there's all this like power and social structure, and they basically end up discovering that like nobody is who they seem to be. And I probably shouldn't say any more than that. It's a comedy.
I mean, it sounds
it's set in
like
1969,
the perfect
Palm Beach, Florida. Yeah, the costumes are just like absurd, just like dripping with opulence, and they're just so extra. Carol Burnett is in it. I got to work with Carol Burnett. The Carol Burnett.
Did you do the ear?
No, I didn't do the ear. I should have done the ear. But I have a really embarrassing. I made a fool of myself in front of Carol Burnett.
Oh my god, you have to say the story here.
Okay. How familiar are you with Carol Burnett's work in general?
I mean, like, I feel like a fair amount. I wouldn't be able to name characters necessarily, but fair amount.
Okay, so that was more than me when I went to meet Carol Burnett. She's she's like almost 90, right? So her work is like just way out of my it's nothing I saw as a kid or was exposed to. But it turns out that my mom loves Carol Burnett. And so when I told my mom that I was going to meet and work with Carol Burnett, she like lost her shit. I'm on the phone with my mom and she's like, "Oh my God. Oh my God." She's like, "Never been this more excited about anybody I'm going to meet." And she's like, "You have to promise me when you meet Carol Burnett, you'll tell her that her mother, that your mother loves her and your mother's favorite scene." She told me all about the favorite scene and I hadn't seen it. And she was like, "Tell her that this is her favorite scene. When I think about it, I still laugh to this day. I just loved watching it as a little girl. It's my favorite scene. Promise me you'll tell her." And I'm like, "Okay, Mom. Okay, I promise. I'll tell Carol Burnett. I'll take a picture with her. I'll send it to you." So I meet Carol Burnett a couple weeks later. And I'm like, "Carol," we're on set. She's like in her Carol Burnett chair. And she's got like, a handler and like an assistant with her. And there's all these people around us. And we have this short break. And I'm like, "Carol, hi, I'm Ben. I'm playing the prince. Like, it's such an honor to meet you. This is so embarrassing, but my mom made me a promise to tell you what her favorite scene was." And I was like, "My mom loved the helicopter scene. And to this day, when she thinks about the helicopter scene, she just still cackles. She loved the helicopter scene." And Carol Burnett goes, "The helicopter scene?" And I'm like, yeah, it's her favorite one." And Carol Burnett is like, "Now, I may be a very old woman, and I've done a lot of scenes, but I never did a helicopter scene." And I'm like, "Oh?" Like all these people around us on set, just like waiting to see what happens next. And I'm like, "Oh, well, I should, I guess I should ask my mom." And she goes, "Yeah, you ask your mother what her favorite Carol Burnett scene is, because I never did a helicopter scene." And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." And we
Yes,
like
ma'am.
shoot
Whatever
the thing
you
we have
want,
to
ma'am.
shoot.
I'm so sorry.
I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." We shoot the thing we have to shoot, and then I go home that day and I call my mom and I'm like, "Mom, you told me the wrong scene." I'm like, "Carol Burnett didn't even know. I told her you loved the helicopter scene and she didn't even know what I was talking about." And my mom goes, "The helicopter scene? I didn't say helicopter scene. I said the curtain rod scene," which is like her curtain rod scene from Gone with the Wind is her most now I know it's like her most iconic scene. It's like this long spoof of Gone with the Wind where she's got like a curtain rod like in her dress that she's wearing. I've seen it since. Now I'm educated. I wasn't at the time. My mom is screaming at me on the phone. She's like, "You idiot!" Like, I'm so embarrassed. "You said the helicopter scene? Carol Burnett thinks I like a helicopter scene that doesn't even exist." My mom, who's never met Carol Burnett, is like mortified that the only thing her like comedic, like icon knows about her is that she likes a scene that she never even did. My mom is livid. She's like, next time you shoot a scene with Carol Burnett, you go tell her it wasn't the helicopter scene. It was the curtain rod scene. And I'm like, "Yes, Mom, I'm so sorry." So the next time, like a week later, I get to shoot another scene with Carol Burnett. I'm like, "Carol, hi, it's me. I'm so sorry. It wasn't a helicopter scene. It was the curtain rod scene." And she's like, "Yeah, that makes a lot more sense." So
that is so like upsetting and wonderful at the same time. I can't even imagine the embarrassment. I have secondhand embarrassment for you right now. I love it so much.
I know, and the thing is, what's so funny is that like I went in fully confident that it was a helicopter scene. Like whatever my mom had told me, I'd never seen the scene, and for some reason it went in my head over the phone with my mom as curtain rod, and it just came out on set with Carol as helicopter. And I just like total 100% assured said to Carol Burnett, "My mom just loved your helicopter scene." And she must have thought I was insane or like totally fucking with her.
Yeah. She totally thought that you were like playing a prank.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. She must have. And I was like I had no idea. Ugh, that's the worst. But like,
I love
her
that
for just
story.
like giving it to me. She could have gone with it and just been like, "Yeah, maybe I did oh well, anyway, thank you, And she was like, "No, Just didn't do
She's
that.
like,
You don't get
I
to.
have
Nope.
never done that, so absolutely
Yeah.
not. Figure yourself
Yeah.
out, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Get with it.
Well,
Yeah.
this is the part of the show where I ask my guests to share a funny or bad audition story, or the audition story of the one that got away. Is there an audition story that you would like to share with the listeners?
Sure. Yeah. I This never actually came out. It got canceled, unfortunately. It was a really great project. I auditioned for Magic Mike the musical, which was going to be a Broadway musical produced by Steven
Okay.
Soderbergh, who produced the movie. And I forget who wrote the music and lyrics, but it was a really good team. It was like an amazing team. And when I read the musical script, it was so well written that it made me cry at one point. I was like, is Magic Mike making me cry? Anyway, I auditioned for it, and I got a call back, and they flew. I auditioned in LA, and I got a call back, and they flew me to New York City to do the callback. And that's only happened to me a couple times. I've never been on Broadway. It's like a dream of mine. I've done a lot of theater, but I've never been on Broadway. They flew me to New York City for the callback, and there was only 15 guys there for the 4 leads or something. And so there was a pretty good chance that I might get it. So it was, it felt like, I was like, oh my God, this is the closest I've ever been to being on Broadway. And I sang my song, and it's Magic Mike. So a big portion of the audition was can you dance? And so they put us all in the same room. And I'm in this room, by the way, with like outstanding Broadway performers, people that I've seen before, this one guy who was in the Frozen show on Broadway, who played Prince Hans. I wish I remember his name. Another guy I recognized from the original cast of Hamilton. Amazing. And it's Magic Mike, so it's some of the just most ripped guys, amazing dancers. These are legit Broadway dancer. And I'm not really a dancer, but I know how to make stuff look hot, I guess. And I had a hunky a cappella group once called Hunkapella. So I have my fair share of dorky hunky stuff that I've done. So they teach us this dance, and it's thankfully it's not like a style of dance that you have to be super trained to do. You know what I mean? And I'm not super trained, so it was just kind of like body movements and gyrating, and it's kind of what you expect Magic Mike, getting on the floor and grinding, and then there's a chair and you have to put your leg over the chair and then kick it out of the way. And I remember thinking okay, this is hard, but I think I got this. And then at one point someone who was there running the session with all of us is okay, now we're gonna do it all together, and everyone's gonna take off their shirts. And I'm okay, and I rip my shirt off, and nobody else does it. And they all kind of look at me, and I'm what? And he was oh, that was a joke. And I'm well, it's Magic Mike, not to me. I'm just gonna keep it off. And I'm well, you might as well. And then right, I'm oh well, my shirt's, I'm not gonna put it back on. And then the head choreographer, or someone who was, I don't know, going to be judging the choreography, comes in, and she's tiny, and she's all right, everybody, and she's not smiling at all, not giving us any support. She's all right, everybody, so what you just learned, we have to do that 4 times as fast. And I was fuck, there's no way my body can move that fast. And she's we're going to start by doing it double time, and then we're going to double that. And they do it double time, and I barely keep up. And then they double that, and I'm just oh, fuck. Nope, this isn't going my way.
You're thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm now going to see myself out.
I know. I will be putting my shirt back on and walking out the door. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one, though.
I didn't get it. It was the Matt Bomer role that I was auditioning for. Yeah. And sadly, the musical it got canceled. It never got produced. But I kind of hope it does. It was good. The script was good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that is one of the few films that actually translates to Broadway very seamlessly. You know, it feels like it can be on
Yeah.
Broadway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and like the demographic would be the same as the movie. Like it would be a big hit. It'd be great for date night, like gay men and women, and I just feel it's so fun.
Yeah, I mean, that would be such a fun thing to see. I'm bummed that we've been robbed of this, truly.
Me too. Me too. Maybe there'll be like a regional production, and I'll get to finally fulfill my dream of being in Magic Mike the musical.
I sincerely hope so, for not just you, but for all of us. Well, before we go, I just wanted to, give you the opportunity to talk about anything else that you have coming up or what you're working on next, and also share your social media so people can follow you.
Ooh, sure. I mean, please watch Palm Royale when it comes out on March 20th on Apple TV if you have that. I'm not in I think the release is like the first 4 episodes. And I'm in episodes 6 and 7, so you won't see me right away, but have faith. In the meantime, Carol Burnett and Kristen Wiig will keep you company. Oh, and you had asked me earlier about working with Ricky Martin. I play I'm the prince. I'm kind of like his love interest. I don't want to say anything more than that. But he's so sweet. Just like the sweetest, most earnest, just like chill guy. He was lovely on set. I expected him to come on set with like the swag and just like fierceness of like an international rock star, which is what he's been for 30 years at this point. And he was just he was like a little boy. He was like quiet and sweet, and if anything, I felt like I was too much for Ricky Martin. I was like, okay, tone it back. Don't freak out Ricky Martin. So please watch Palm Royale March 20th on Apple TV, and then if you want to see me as a singing, dancing crocodile, watch Lyle Lyle Crocodile on Netflix. It's really cute.
Well, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show, and I'm very excited to watch Palm Royale, and come back again sometime.
Thanks. Oh, and my Instagram is at Ben Palacios _. My last name is Palacios, and I don't really use X, whatever, Twitter anymore, so I won't even give that. Sorry, Elon.
Sorry, Elon, but your app sucks.
Bye.
Thanks again to Ben for coming on the show and spending some time with me. Check out Palm Royale on Apple TV, and make sure to tune in next week. Thanks so much for Ben for coming on the show and hanging out with me. Check out Palm Royale on Apple TV, and as always, thanks for coming in.
Nowadays, trends and news cycles change faster than we can blink. But there are some things that withstand the test of time. And if you're looking for a connection to something timeless, and maybe also a glimpse of life at a slower pace, I believe everyone can relate to the very human experiences explored in Jane Austen's novels. And that's where I come in. My name is Alison Larkin. I'm a writer, comedian, and narrator and host of the Jane Austen podcast with Alison Larkin. I spent a lot of my childhood in the part of England where Jane Austen lived and wrote, and now that I live in the States, nothing gives me a sense of homecoming quite like narrating her books. On this show, you'll listen to award-winning narration. I'll give myself a pat on the back for that. As well as conversations with actors, writers, and other fascinating people who all share a passionate love for Jane Austen. So please, join me as we embark on a wonderful journey through Jane Austen's work. Be sure to listen and subscribe to the Jane Austen podcast with Alison Larkin, wherever you get your podcasts.